Good afternoon, sports fans, and welcome once again to Richard and Greg's Patriots Halftime. I'm Richard, and this is Greg.
Hi, Richard. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. And yourself?
Well, right now the Patriots are ahead 17-0. They won last week by a score of 34-0. So they're doing pretty well in the last 6 quarters. And right now I'm real pleased with the way things are looking.
We've really had nothing to complain about in the first half of any of the Patriots games this year, with the exception of the Jets game.
That's right. That Jets game was just a totally lopsided first half. The Patriots made a game effort of it and came back in that game, although they fell short. And that's why they're in the situation that they're in right now, Richard. They have to win. The Patriots have to win the next 5 games without question, including starting today, of course, but then they've got Atlanta next week. And Atlanta right now is a tough team. So the Patriots have to start today, and they look like they're well on their way. And I really think we've got to be impressed by the defense today, especially.
The defense has looked fine, and on 2 occasions in particular, when Buffalo was in imminent danger of scoring a touchdown, putting some points on the board, the defense came up with a big turnover. And we like to see the big turnover. It's what put the Patriots in the Super Bowl last year.
Well, we've got to be concerned. As happy as we are at the defense, we certainly have to be concerned with the running game. The Patriots' offense hasn't been able to move the ball on the ground at all this year, and today is just a perfect example of that. They probably haven't gotten 40 yards with the running backs. Eason has some yards rushing today, but the running backs haven't done anything. Craig James seems to be confused out there. Robert Weathers looked good on that one run, but right now the Patriots' running game is not around at all, and there's no way that they're going to beat the good teams without a running game.
Let's talk to Scott.
Scott, how are you?
I'm okay, Richard. I just will never understand why Dave Stapleton wasn't in there playing first base at the end of that game last night. That's the only thing I had to say today.
Scott, of course, referring to the Red Sox big loss last night in the World Series, which we're not, of course, going to even mention anymore.
All right, we'll just drop it.
Did you realize that the Patriots are ahead at halftime?
Yeah, I've been kind of keeping a close eye on the game this afternoon. I agree with everything Greg says about the running game. Been real bad, but defense has played well. I'm having a lot of trouble getting real excited about these games, even though they're probably just as important as the games against the better teams. But as I said to Greg a couple of weeks ago, we've got to win 5 or 6 games in a row before I can really be enthused about the prospects of this season. We've got a real bunched-up division in the AFC West. You've got 4 teams there, or 3 teams, or 4 that are going for the playoff spot. So we're in a pretty tough bind thanks to our pathetic performances against the Jets and Denver and Seattle. So we've done fairly well today, but like I say, I'm having a little trouble getting excited about it.
Who do you think should play quarterback for the Patriots in the second half?
Well, I don't see any reason. I think Tony Eason, should be playing all along. I thought it was pretty funny this afternoon when they opened up the telecast trying to create some kind of quarterback controversy between Grove and Eason. I felt all along. I was really angry when Tony Eason went down. If you'll remember back to the Miami game, I was angry that they had him throwing the ball and taking a chance with his health, and they did, and he was lost for a few weeks. And we lost that Jet game maybe as a result of it. And I think without a doubt it should be Tony Eason. I'm very happy with Tony Eason's play this year.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, and I'm sorry to hear that you have to go to work here in the second half of today's game.
Strange as it may seem, Richard, some people seem to think that work is more important than football. I'll never understand it, so I have to go in this afternoon and work for 8 hours without even knowing the outcome of this game. So that's the first time in the history of my association with the Patriots this has ever happened, and I certainly hope it'll be the last time, too.
Would you care to make a prediction for next week's schedule?
As far as how they...
whether you're going to work or not?
It's hard to say. I'm finding out with like a few minutes notice, so I really don't know, but I'm certainly open. That's Atlanta next week, if I'm not mistaken, and we're supposed to view that on the brand spanking new satellite dish, so I'm certainly going to go to all ends to get out of that.
Well, it's a most serious situation, Scott, and it's something I hope you'll look into.
Well, maybe you could give them a call from the halftime booth and,
I've already stopped buying the paper.
Well, thank you for your support, Richard.
Thank you, Scott. See
All
you
right,
later.
we'll see you.
A tragic situation.
It certainly is. I feel bad for Scott right now, and hopefully it's going to work this thing out. He brought up an important point, and I think that we both have talked about it throughout the first half. The announcers for this game are the worst I've ever seen. I may be over-exaggerating a bit, but this Sam Rutigliano is the buffoon of the century. He's the guy that threw the pass that the Patriots intercepted when his team, all he had to do was kick a field goal to win the game a few years ago for Cleveland. And he's no longer coaching because of that one play. And you can also see in his comments that he thinks he knows everything, and he obviously knows nothing about football. And it's just kind of irritating to have to listen to this on a national broadcast, to listen to announcers that are so out to lunch.
At least they're clean shaven, though.
Well, that's one thing you can say for him, I guess.
One thing that I've really noticed, which I don't know whether it's because the defense has done something remarkable or whether the teams they're playing are just terrible, but they said they were going to stop the run, and so far they've been able to stop the run pretty well.
Well, Buffalo doesn't have a real good running game, but it's still encouraging to see them stop the run, because I think they've played some other teams earlier in the season that didn't have real good running games, and they still managed to go right through the Patriots' defense. They've made a few adjustments, and they've shored up things. You know, I think one thing that we've got to talk about is that Clayton Weishuhn was activated on Friday. He's now an active member of the Patriots roster, and I think you'll see him working into the rotation slowly. You've got 4 great linebackers along with Rembert, who had a real nice interception in the first half. So you've got some quality players in head of Weishuhn right now, but he was really the man in the Patriots linebacking core when he went down 2 years ago with the injury, and I think you see him come back, it's going to make the Patriots defense that much stronger.
Perhaps they could move one of their linebackers into the line where they seem to need some work.
Well, they might be able to make a few different changes. They could probably move Larry McGrew back outside, which is his natural position.
All right, Greg, well, I think we better go back to the game right now, and I appreciate your comments.
All right, Richard.